Welcome back to our Game Talk podcast. It's not an official name, it's just something that we decided to throw onto the video just so stands out a little bit. We know there's other game podcasts out there, so we thank you for listening to this one. In the last episode, we were talking about what a game really needs to be a good game. And Kev, what, in your opinion, what does a good game need to be a good playable game? You don't drop after a while.
Well, for me, I think a game really needs a good storyline, a great plot, also great mechanics, and it makes you really think, but also in the same way makes you have fun a lot. And I think a great example of this is the game Half-Life 2 by Valve. Do you know that game, Nico?
I have no idea what that game is. Yeah. Half-Life 2 is probably one of my favorite single-player games ever. And I heard in an interview, Gabe Newell was talking about the subject of Half-Life 3 is always brought up in Gabe Newell's interviews, but in this particular sense, he's like, we're focusing on just the multiplayer and making that as good as possible for all the people out there, because we don't really think they're too interested in single player games nowadays, and I'm against what he said in that particular sense, because personally I loved Half-Life 2, as long as the game has a very strong and meaningful story. I feel like I will stick to that longer than I will stick to a multiplayer game with no story. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but Half-Life 2, it was released 2004,
yeah.
When I was 5. So, it's really old. I think the difference is is a different generation of gamers, they think differently when they play the game.
Yeah.
And nowadays, a new generation of gamers is coming.
Yeah.
And they're just used to the games say Call of Duty, or
they're used to
a run of the mill game.
They're used to community, I guess. They rely on other people to have fun, and with single player games, you kind of have to rely on the story. You instead of having fun with other people, you have to kind of have fun with the characters in your game. But I feel like the Half-Life series, both Half-Life 1 and Half-Life 2, really focused and buckled down on the storyline, and really, pushed forward the whole single player and even multiplayer platform, I guess, because people really want their storyline and their multiplayer to be as good as they possibly can. And Half-Life 2 Deathmatch, that was, it was based right off of Half-Life 2, and it has the same mechanics and everything. It's got the same weapons and the same gravity gun, but it's a multiplayer, but it still feels like you're playing Half-Life 2. It doesn't feel like some crappy DLC. It still feels like Half-Life 2, and it feels like you're immersed in the game.
Yeah, also playing with your friends too, and different servers for the people.
Yeah. What does a game not need, in your opinion? What can game developers go without? Like they're adding all this content, and what do you think that they could go without in a game?
Well, I don't know. There are a couple of things that I think that are unnecessary. I don't know. Help me out, Nico.
Personally, there are certain achievements or things that you really couldn't grasp, things that you can't really. I don't know. I mean, achievements are cool. They're I got to this part in the game, and this is what I found. I found all of this. But to me,
it shows yeah, sure, you did this, but It doesn't really add anything to your experience with the game.
No, it doesn't. I mean, it's you look at it once and you never look at it again. And if especially if like someone's going to buy the game for instance, and they look at the achievements just to see what it is. Some of them, they have descriptions, and you say, for instance, on this Half-Life 2, I'm going to read it back. Hallowed ground, and it's escort Grigori safely through the church cemetery. And if you haven't played the game before, you kind of have an idea that, oh, there's a church cemetery. I mean, and it's such a small thing to nitpick, but to me, I think the surprise and just the awe of doing that and not getting a like an achievement for it, it's just it doesn't
Yeah, it doesn't like make you feel like
doesn't have any worth to it to me,
like,
personally. I mean,
you're still playing the game. Like, okay, you got an achievement. All right.
So
cool.
what? I mean,
whatever.
It doesn't give you in-game perks. It doesn't, when I say that, I feel like that's such a Call of Duty or Battlefield thing to say. It doesn't give you any perks, but it might. I don't play Call of Duty or Battlefield. Those are not my types of games, I guess. But in a very single player centered universe, it doesn't really add anything because it's not like a train track, like a progressive story. I guess it's a progressive story. It's kind of hard to explain. It's just things are going to happen in a way, whether you choose to go left or to go right. Things are going to happen. They're set out before you, and it's not like the achievements are going to do anything. They're just, I don't know. To me, they're bothering. They just seem like, and it's not a big deal, but just to me, I think you could go without it. And I'm sure there are other things. Leave a comment in the comments below if you have any good things that you don't need in a game to make it a good game.
Yeah, also like such as in consoles like PlayStation and Xbox, they do have the achievement system, and they add to like their overall like say gamer score, how many trophies they have.
Yeah. It doesn't add anything though. To me, no content or maybe it does. Maybe in the future, if you wanted to still utilize achievements, you could possibly put in like if you say you got some achievement for going so far without using so much life, maybe you could get like an in-game item or like a badge on Steam for like a character on Steam or something to put on your profile, just to say, well, yeah, I got this. And that might totally be a thing already. I'm not completely sure. But correct me if I'm wrong. And that's the end of this episode. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
And we'll see you all in the next one.
See you later.